All right. C1x Updates, episode 5. It's been a few days since the last video. Did some work over the weekend. And I don't quite remember what all I did, so we're just going to talk about where we're at. One thing I did notice is looking at, for some reason this only happened on Apple. Did not happen on Android. I don't know why, but Apple was registering a number of crashes for users. It seemed like it was only a handful of users that experienced it. Most people did not, but it was a crash that was happening on app launch, it looked like. And couldn't quite tell what it was at first, but did some digging into it. Turns out it was related to Firebase, the third-party database that I'm using, and didn't really have anything to do with the way that I coded it. There was just, it looks like at some point within the past month, Firebase had a package update, and the data format that Firebase was expecting on their end was not matching the data format that this third-party package was producing on my end. So that was kind of a bummer, but implemented it was related to the persistence. So within Firebase, I set up I guess here it's literally just calling it persistence, but if the way this works is that the app uses an internet connection to send data to my database. If the user doesn't have internet, then Firebase and this package have the ability to just store it locally and wait until the phone connects to internet, and the app is open again, and then it can send it through. And specifically, so if the user had an internet connection, it seems like there was no issue, but where the issue was existing is if a user didn't have internet, the data got saved into Firebase's persistence. Then somewhere in there, the format was not matching what was then expected when it would get sent to the database. I'm not sure why exactly that's the case, but did some research into it and talked to ChatGPT about it for a bit, and it seems like if I just clear the persistence out, which when this runs for people, unfortunately it might mean that I lose a little bit of data. It shouldn't happen. In principle, it shouldn't happen, but it is possible, but it's more important that the app doesn't crash for people. So I should be able to clear it out, and then that should hopefully prevent the issue from happening in the future, but also then break users where the app might be crashing for them now out of that cycle. So I spent like an hour fixing this, but outside of that, back to the more fun stuff. I don't quite remember where I was at in the last video. In the settings, we had these deep stats. I added all the toggles for these, and these do now actually work, actually have an impact. So, for example, shot distance is, if I start around, this thing right here, 300 feet, can set the shot distance. If I go to the settings and we turn it off, then it's not there anymore. Doesn't look great, but it is at least carrying through. So I got all of that working. We still have the same widgets. I haven't changed the appearance of any of these, but I did do a lot of work on the back end with normalizing the labels that I'm using, the values that I'm using. Created a couple new structures to hold the data throughout. So you can see this is actually the structure that I'm going to be passing stuff through. This is a map with keys and values. So now let's go to the scorecard here. 10 detailed shot data has its own map. I am assigning it the correct value based on whatever key it is. So all of the widgets now have individual keys to pass information using. The ultimate goal of this being that if I change stuff along the way, where do I create those labels? Let me remind myself of this here. Category. All the way up. release single key deep stats under settings. That's right. Sort of the deep stats settings, I have these keys. I have the labels to iterate through. The important thing being that if I end up, like let's say at some point I decide that, I don't want release angle and footing to be on the same widget. Instead of it being tied to that specific view, and when I change this view, then I have to go change the structure of how I'm receiving the information. It'll all just be tied to the key that I'm passing it to. There'll still be a little bit of legwork to do, just because I'm trying to make these views look like ultimately look like a native feature, not something that's just been cobbled together. There's going to be a little bit of overlap that I'd have to deal with, but ultimately it would be tied to just the key, and then that way if I add new logging stuff in the future, they would just become new keys, new widgets. Everything would be tied to the key itself. It doesn't matter what order they happen in during the round. So I did that, got the map working, and this does now save the information as it should. So this temp detailed shot data, you can see I'm printing it here. If we go, say forehand 250 feet, we get FH 250 here. We've got a hyzer release angle because that's what I selected earlier. If I select, nope. Yeah, not the first time that's happened. All right, so anywho, most of the important stuff was with me talking anyways, but yeah, labels can carry through, so I can now turn some of the stuff on off. I can turn the distance off if the user toggles it off. Printing the shot data down here. Shot type, shot distance. This is what the map structure looks like, so I can always reference it based off of the key and not order. And I got it all to actually save. Shot miss was a unique one. So let's say, we drag the disc up here. Say we yanked it a little long, release angle wasn't great. Button's not selecting, but it is, or not changing color, but it is moving at least. And then if I shift this up here, whoa. We can see this is what the missed data looks like. So I've got left or right, long or short, high or low. So if I moved it a little bit higher, we would get high left. So that's updating based off of what the value is that the disk is placed at. So it'll always be a word, left, right, high, low, or a mixture of them. And then I can use those. Those labels will stay consistent. I have them here. So, yeah. I'm getting most of the data in there now. Obviously still haven't touched the appearance of stuff. A couple of things I would like to at least get started on today is getting these working within the deep stats view. So the hard part here is that I pulled the widget out and I don't want to change any function of the widget because I'm using the exact same one just for regular C1x and I don't want to affect regular C1x. So I need to find a way to essentially pause this at certain points until the user goes on to the next shot. So maybe get that functionality in there, and then I want a progress bar up here to just match how the user is progressing on this stuff. So maybe I start with that first. I should be able to tie it to the same index, which would probably help. It's going to be another carousel, and that is going to be way down here. Not round is over, so right here is where we're going to be. That is screen width, screen height, probably going to stay the same. Child is going to be this layout builder. So I might start by just copying this, and this is going to look bad at first, but we will eventually get there. Okay. So carousel options. Constraints max height should just pull the height from here, which should be good. Enlarge center page can be true. Infinite scroll is false. viewport fraction. That is, yeah, let's change this to 2 right now. On page changed. We'll leave that as such. I guess I'm not doing anything with the one down below here either. Right? On page changed. Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave that as is right now. Items. That is going to differ here, but this would be probably still going to be the widgets. Let's just start with ChatGPT here. It's going to save me a lot of time on the front end. All right. Let's go down to my actual one. Oh, size box. All right. I have a carousel C1x code. My throwing categories. Individual categories have the below structure. All the way back up here. Let's go snag one of these. Above this size box to place another sized box carousel, smaller widgets on it. I want, maybe these actually shouldn't be on a carousel because I kind of want them all to be visible. That's the point. So let's adjust this for a sec. Another size box with a row of smaller that can be used as progress indicator for when a user completes each step in the larger carousel below. When data is submitted in the larger carousel, I want to show in the corresponding container above to indicate what was submitted. Some will be text, some will need to be painted graphics. Provide the structure for this, and then we can go through each widget. Okay. That should work. Progress row. So we got a child that is the row, which should be there. And let's go way back down. And that will be for the layout builder, what we're going to swap out. Not going to do the carousel. Categories map. Oh. What is that? Did I copy something? I don't know why that happened. All right. Okay. Create a folder for this. Progress bar graphics. Factory. It's not going to work. Okay. Settings. Here. No, don't hide them. There we go. Rotary category. Why do I need to import that category label? That's our switch. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Deep round scorecard here. That's going to be for the rotary category. Do I need to take the underscore off? Isn't that where I define it? Class rotary category. Deep round scorecard. Odd. Rotary category is undefined. Even though I import the package and I define it there. I guess we're just going to do this. But then there's still the, why isn't this working? What needs to be, what does fix do? Is it loading? It just wants to be if else. Okay, shot type key, return that. If Turn build angle graphic. Else. Turn center maybe. And then I can drop this. Let me just do this. Okay. There we go. And then we have if equals. Try wrapping this statement in a block. I can just do that generally, I guess. Else. And we do this. And else goes here. This is not going to be perfect, but it is probably an okay start. So that should probably be I do use visible though. Yeah. So I can do that. If is for padding, else. Then we're going to use this twice, the carousel controller, so that if you tap one of these progress bars, it'll jump to the next page, as it stated there. And I like that functionality, so I will use it. Okay. So now we should just have the carousel controllers being the errors. Yeah. All right, and then carousel controller up top. Is that going to work how I think it's going to work? Yeah. Carousel slider, is that actually an option? It is, okay. So I should be able to do that. spec carousel 5, not even close. So it wants me to throw this up top. I guess. Maybe I just try the jump to page for now. And we don't worry about this too much. If that even works. Doesn't seem like it. Okay, maybe that then. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Does seem like that fixed some stuff. Can I still use animate to page? Can. All right, let's copy those guys then. I'll go here. Yeah. Restart. There we go. All right. So we got to animate to page now. Build progress. Indicator content. This is not gonna work. Okay. Hate when it does that. So then up here, new import. This is going to be C1x, deep stat keeping, and factory. Not two darts. Huh? Ah. says it. Oh, I'm missing the other folder. Yep. Now we should be good. Yeah. All right, so now that's going to work. We're still slightly missing the category. I did just make it label though. Dot label. Perfect. Okay, so that should work, and then we're just missing how I'm actually going to call these. So for right now, let's just do this. Let's do this. Let's go and false so that these never run. And then else we're just going to return. That is not what I said. All right, now let's just do a reset, see where that puts me. Computer is being quite slow with ChatGPT at the moment, so let me try Xing out of that. Yeah, immediately loads better. Okay. We are passing value. What value am I passing? Passing just value here. Value is equal to the label, so I'm not passing both, which is not overly important. I will probably pass both. But yeah, that is, I think that's about what I want it to look like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then these are going to be all kinds of messed up just because I'm showing the text and there's lots of options here, but that is definitely a step in the right direction. Everything fits well, which is great. So now we just have to make this stuff actually look good. And have the ability also to receive multiple values. So let's go dynamic value 2. That is going to cause an issue here. Children is for putting. Map to a category. All right, so this is actually going to pretty closely, I think, mirror what I have here. Yeah. So this is how I am currently, nope, not there. Not on tap. How I am handling views that have multiple values. So like release angle, for example, has the release angle. It also has footing. This one has shot type and shot distance. So let's go final value 2 equals null. I should be able to pass that. This is actually going to be a var. So if I just initialize it like this, that's fine. Okay, that works for me. Let's go here. Let's format this. So if either of these exists, which means that we're using or looking at a widget that has multiple values, then value 2 is going to be equal to shot distance key. Yes. Exactly. And this will be footing key. Footing. Cool. And then that is what we will pass. And so that's either going to have a value if it's a widget that has multiple. What's the issue? Try adding a type. I just do that. Yeah, okay. So we'll either have a value and we can account for it here, or it'll say null, and then we won't worry about it. Test that there real quick. And then let's go if 2 is not equal to null. Don't really need the second check in there, but we'll use it anyways. Okay. So now ideally here I can select forehand, and that shows why is value 2 not null. Shot distance key. That's what I should be passing, right? It is. It's clearly not what I'm passing. Column. Oh, value 2. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to get a blank, but it still shouldn't be running because value 2 should be null. I'm not sure why it's not. Give me a print value 2 here. It's equal to null. If category label equals shot type. Why would this not be working? Let's print it in here, value 2. Let's remove it there. And I mean, in principle, I should be getting the same calls. This is making me think that I need to assign it to null. Like this is causing issues. I mean, it's working as intended, but it shouldn't be doing anything at all. Let's center it. I guess this will be a good test. So because it's centered now, it should be centering all of the widgets. So yeah, because that's not centered, this is clearly still running. What happens if I do that? If I do this, it's going to tell me it's unnecessary. Let's see if that changes it though. Because I don't understand how I'm getting, like, what is, it's printing 6 times. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Kind of. Oh, because it's being set, I see. I see. The label does exist. So it's setting it equal to just the string. Mm-hmm. So what I can do here instead is we can do, yeah. So if the shot data is blank, we're just going to pass null, and that way the widget doesn't show. This is what I should have done anyways. So let's copy paste that, and this should, fairly confident this is going to address the issue. So all I'm trying to do now is get, when forehand pops up, that it is centered, and then it bumps up when the distance is logged. That I'm actually getting null every time. Yeah, so you can see here I get 6 calls to null. So one for each widget. Screen capture has probably been frozen for so long. Is this new? Is that how long it's been? So now I can hit forehand, and this pops up, and then I can add distances, and that goes up as well. And then same thing for these. So that's going to show anhyzer in the center, and then it'll pop those down below. Not the intended final look of this, but at least getting the stuff to show, which is great. Yeah, I'm gonna get an overflow there, but that's okay. Okay, cool. That's good progress. Oh, yeah. It's nice. Okay. That is nice. Now what? Now do I make them look better? Do I make this stuff look better first? These should look better before I worry too much about this. But that is a good step in the right direction. So now users would be able to enter stuff and be like, oh yeah, I didn't enter this data. Very nice little completion view. The intent though is to have this maybe be more just text. This one to have the actual release angle of the disk shown with maybe a label above it. This one I want to actually show the flight path of the disk. This will just be a number, but it's going to match the color of the bar, like the color of where the progress cursor sits is going to be the background of it, so a little more colorful. This one I'm not sure what I'm going to do about. Maybe just show a little target with where the disk is at. Little L or S for long or short. We'll figure it out, but all to be slightly unique, not to look like each other. Let me drag this over here. Think about what I should do next. I guess maybe we can just tackle this. This next is making these buttons actually update how I expect them to for the detailed view. Main landing options. So for starters, when I call the scorecard buttons, they could have, they could. So we're going to start with this. We're going to go main landing options, final bool is for detailed stats. And I'm just going to use this to update the design of those buttons. This dot is for detailed stats equals false. Okay. By not making it required, it's just me guaranteeing that I don't have to change anything about the main function of C1s, and I can just pass true. C1x. I can just pass true when I'm passing it from this. Next, let's go to button designs. This is scorecard buttons, which are these guys here. Not for dialogue, but I am going to do a is for detailed stats. This dot is for detailed stats equals false. Close Safari, right? Still just being really slow. I'm not going to update this anymore today. We'll close that. Trying to close a few things out just so this goes a little bit faster. Okay. And so now here, when I am setting this is, color shouldn't change, disregard that. Base height, base color, for dialogue. Yeah, so these I can actually just update with a base. This is still registering, that's crazy. This can go away. Final bottom width equals final bottom height final top width final top height. All right, so this is base here. Widget for dialogue. If it's not for the dialogue, it's this. These are going to be vars actually. Var. So we got 0.3, height is going to be 0.18. I could just pass a different screen size. Right? Is that actually, let me think about this. Is that screen width, screen height? Is that easy for me to do here? Calling it from this. Available width, available height. That's probably my issue. Like, maybe the only thing I needed to do here, instead of screwing with this button designs. Let me try that real quick. Leave that open, as if the scorecard button here, we just comment that out. We go screen width, available width, and then here we go, screen height, available height. And then we wait for this to stop loading, and then I do a reset. And we'll see if that screws anything up. I'm going to test it on just regular C1x first. Overflow here is related to that shot miss one, so not affected by what we're doing at the moment. I don't hate that those are smaller. That is an impact here. I would like for them to be a little bit bigger though. Because that's the only spot I just updated them from. Oh, Dylan, come on. All right, we got to try it up here too. I didn't update these. Just give me a reset again. Let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Ooh, yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay, maybe we scrap that idea. Let's do this. Let's do this. Give me a reset one more time. Just make sure that normal C1x is back to normal. Great. Okay. Now let's go back here. Okay, so disregard that. We are going to go down this path. 0.18. Oh, and then pressed animation. Yeah. and that is base height times pressed multiplier equals, and that is 0.011. 395 065. Okay. And then because I've got the dialogue that needs to be smaller, and then I need to change both for the detailed stats. Alright, so if it's for dialogue, those would be the values. But then we need if it's for detailed stats, which I did keep in here, yeah. Can I just apply an easy multiplier to those? Is that going to be sufficient? Probably not. Because the issue is that I'm sitting at roughly the same screen width that they had before, but the height is substantially less. So the width may not really need to change at all, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I can do this a long way, and then if I can get away without it, then we will. Widget dot for dialogue. And then else if. Okay, so we can go and do the dialogue ones. So that's going to be 0.31. Base height is this. Base width is 2.8. Height is 1.1. And then press multiplier is 0.007. Okay. So these are good. These are good. These are the ones I need to fix here. For detailed stats. These are going to be the numbers that are closest to what I need, because the other two are for the dialogues. Let's back these out. Are we rolling? Yeah. All right, bottom width. Honestly, that's still going to stay pretty close. The width here even doesn't look terrible to me, so I might leave that one the same. Bottom height. I mean, it doesn't look that far off here because it's kind of curving where I would expect it to. I wonder. but the height's not changing dynamically, so it really probably should be a little bit less. We're going to leave the width the same. Let's take that to 1.7. Top width could probably be a little bit less. Let's go 3.8. Top height is definitely the one that needs to change. Let's drop this all the way down to 1.4. Multiplier needs to be less, much less. So let's go 0.95. All right, and then if it is for the dialog, these are actually, I guess I'm popping up a dialog, so those are already kind of perfect. I think I'm probably just going to leave that as is for now. So here we're actually going to go just is it for the dialog. So if that is true, then we're going to use the dialog values. We're not going to change them either way. If it's not for the dialog, but it is for detailed stats, then we'll use these slightly altered numbers. And now the only thing left is really just to plug these in. So this will just be bottom width. This will be bottom height. And then once again, I will go check these. And the normal C1x first, just to make sure. Pressed multiplier. This is top width. And then this will be top height. Okay. Let's do a reset and check these out. So regular C1x, just to make sure that I didn't mess the numbers up and those buttons still look as they should. Go away. All right. Definitely. This was not. Let me go back here. It's base height times press multiplier. There we go. All right, and now this is top width and top height. All right, reset again. Okay, so now those should look normal. Yep. Looks good. Looks good. Okay. Let's enable and then see where we're at here. This doesn't look like anything changed. The press down might be better. Oh, because I'm not actually passing the value. Detailed shot data is for detailed stats. On the scorecard button, I need to pass that. Is for detailed stats. Widget dot is for detailed stats. And then I need that line also when I call it down here. Shouldn't matter in principle because that's the only one that does, but we will call it nonetheless. And then here, this is where I need the is for detailed stats. And that's going to be a true. Okay, so reset one more time. That should not have changed anything with normal C1x, but I am going to check again just to make sure. Okay, good. Now let's do detailed deep stats. It does still not look like anything changed. Main landing, screen height, I'm passing true. Am I supposed to pass it here? Surely not, right? Like that should be, just passing it like so should be fine. This is for detailed stats. Button designs. Widget is for detailed stats. 4317. Okay, let's go just extreme, just so I can verify here that I am actually changing stuff. 08. Okay, give me a reset. So drastically reduced the height on both of those. And we'll hope that that is actually visible. It isn't. Print. Am I getting true? False. Well, that explains it. This for detailed stats is false there. Okay, so the issue is not with the values that I had. I am getting false there. So let's save that. Let's go to the man landing options. And I guess let me print it here and see what I'm getting. Print is for detailed. Also getting false there. Okay, so we got to go back more then. Yeah, I'm getting false. Okay. True. Explicitly setting it to true. That's on the putting categories. I set it for putting. I did not set it for throwing. It's always the obvious stuff. Yeah, they look different now. Okay. So this does look pretty close. I think top height just still needs to be a little bit less. Top height, I did 1.4, even less. And the width could be a bit more. 3, let's go 3.85 and 1.3. That looks better, but maybe the top, shrunk the top height too much. I think a little too much. So top height, I was at 1.4. Let's go 1.35. If I save it, is that going to update? It does. Okay. That's too much. 1.325. Maybe top width just a little bit more. That is better though. Okay, and then we just need to update the press multiplier. Let's go to 8. Still just a little bit too much. Let's go to 7. Oh, come on. Much closer. 6, 5. Maybe the top height should be a little bit less. Might be too much. Okay. Kick this back to 0.7. Even more, 7.5. Yeah. Okay, might roll with that for right now, and then the putting should look the exact same. Yeah. Okay, so they look good, which is important. Now to make them work. So I think ideally the way this works is, let's say, you know, it's their first shot and they hit fairway. Once they hit fairway, I want this to hide and then have a little thing that says entered. You can hit undo and that pulls it back, but yeah. So on the scorecard, down to my display, carousel slider, container, widget builder. Not equal to null. These buttons will never be equal to null. I did make sure of that. No, that'll be fine. Disregard. Had a thought, it was not a good one. So I guess ideally I would have something here, like this would be in parentheses, and we would say is, you know, the label equal to those. Is this the widget that's showing? And if it is, has something already been entered? That's what I would need to check. And if it has, then I can just display text. All right, let's create an error there just so I have easy access to it. Let's go way up here. And let's go var has landing been entered? Has it been entered? Okay. And really, that's something I should probably track within just the view itself and then pass back. That would be ideal. It's not going to be an argument that I pass. We are going to go required has landing been entered. It's not going to like that. Landing options. It doesn't need to be an argument, it just needs to be something that is passed. Just because of the update the parent state, that's it. Okay, so that was all I needed to implement there. And then here we're going to have a bool has landing been entered equals false. Then down here we're going to pass it. Entered has landing been entered. Give me a comma there. So now I am receiving it when we expect to. This is within a set state, so here we're going to have a has landing been entered. Does it actually need to be an argument? So if a button gets tapped, we get true to pass. And true to pass means I show the text. That is always what's going to pass. We can try this first. This is fine. Required. And yeah, this just needs to be this. Okay. And down here, I just have this error. Don't even have change. So if I go to like throw type, unchanged is this. Main landing options I don't have not changed. I should. I am passing the value, but current shot data, that's what I'm passing. Shot data is equal to that. Yeah. I'm losing myself here. Has landing been entered? True. So when a value is hit, we set that to true. And then we hope it resets. Perhaps. And then what? I guess I can throw this whole thing in parentheses here. And I'll go category.label is equal to main landings key, and has landing been entered is true. Right? Dead code has landing been entered. It can be false though. How is it dead code? Yeah. Where was I? Where did I create that at? It was down here, wasn't it? Has landing been entered is equal to false. It's a var, a variable. Can I not change it here? Or am I just setting it equal to each other? Why can't I do this? What's wrong with this? Isn't defined for deep stats round scoring state. Where is it defined? I guess just up here is where it needs to be. Has landing been entered? Like I just do that. And then we get rid of it down here. And then, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So let me go do the same thing for putting in, and that should, yeah, the code is not dead anymore. So it was just not recognizing that the value could be changed. And so this actually then, I need that to go here. And above it, I need just a general text would be great. That will work. Go away. And here. Landing has been okay. Yeah, I think we're good there. Let me, let's tab this out one, just so I can kind of get the depth to it. Okay, and then the only thing left should just be setting that value to true when something's actually entered down here. So down here, every time one of these is entered, this isn't within set state, or is, no, the whole thing is not within set state. This would be within set state. Okay, so that's going to go there, else we'll do set state. So this may not work, but it is a good starting point, I think. So all of this with the goal being that once a shot is entered with one of those landing zones, my screen capture froze again. Did it not actually restart? Restart. Oh, do I have an error? I do have an error. Okay, required. Has landing been entered? And I'm not going to do anything with it. All right, let's reset again. Hopefully I didn't miss too much. Added some set states in here. This is within the view that's showing those buttons. Just making sure that it's true, using it throughout, showing this text. If it's been entered, else we're building the widget. That is the goal. Okay. Seems like that kind of works. If I do this, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's working. Maybe this needs to be in a column that I center, or maybe we just wrap it in an actual center. Okay. Seems like that works. Now I wonder if, just as an easy test here, we set it equal to false when next shot is hit. Let's try that. Capture froze again. Yeah, I did never, this is probably not helping my capture. I never deleted my last videos, I don't think. No, definitely did not. Today is the 27th, so these guys need to go. Let's do that. It's empty. Okay, maybe that'll help. Maybe we won't get the reset anymore. Setting it equal to false when next shot has been hit. That might do the trick. So we hit fairway, next shot. Cool. That is exactly how I want that to work. So that's great. So these buttons now work. I do need to update the container. That is one thing to figure out here. Animate to page, container, category, value, carousel, have detailed shot data. Label value. It is hard to tell what value I'm getting here. Like if I hit fairway and then we come up here, main landings does not get updated. Every other one does. Why? Something here. This is not happening for value. Print value, print label. That shouldn't be an error, it's just not loading. We'll try that though. See if I'm actually getting a printout for that first, and then we can go from there. Oh, did I turn it off? No, I didn't. Resume round is not acknowledging the detailed stats. Interesting. Had not thought of that yet. Confirm. Best starting hole. Actions confirm. So I need this, and wherever I have resume, we need the same thing. Yeah, right here. Loading the current round, and then we're going to copy this. This is probably not going to quite work for me, because what happens if the user disables or enables deep rounds? Yeah. Let's refresh. I'll have to think about that. What happens if it's changed in the middle of the round? Okay. Anywho. Fairway. I do have lots of print statements that are making this hard, I think. Let's get rid of these two. Let's get rid of that. Oops. Trying to delete these so my logging is better. Still just doing this right now, which is fine. Don't need to print the weather. This is what I want to print. Yeah, I want to print those. Don't invoke print. Throwing count. I don't need at the moment. I don't need that at the moment. I did get rid of those. Okay, now let's do a reset here. Close these guys out. Main menu. Okay, it'll take me to the debug, and let's see what's happening here. I hit fairway. Nothing happens, so it's not even called right now. This is not happening. Deep round scorecard value is not getting passed. Category widget builder. This is getting called, like it's happening. Okay, let me go look at, we can look at execution grade again. That's pretty straightforward one, unchanged. Execution grade meter, super, this unchanged. Widget unchanged, call. That is set rating from position. So anytime it's updated, we're set rating from position. Okay. So then when I create the categories way up here, I need this. More than likely, right? I have on state changed, but function string. Let me go to ChatGPT for this. Try and get this right the first time. Come on. All right, with the below widget, I can capture changes within the widget like so. All the way down. And then I need this. This works as expected. How can I capture similar updates for a widget? The below structure. And I'm sure some of this is just what I'm missing within the widget itself, but so it's suggesting option 1. Okay, so the suggestion step 1 is going to be to go down in my category here and do this. And then this. then modify that. Yeah, I can find complex widget builder. So this would be complex widget builder. Unchanged. Main landing options on state changed state. So I'm going with option 1. My main landing options clearly already passes values. How could I? If I only want a specific value, say current shot data 0. Change your unchanged call to be see if I understand it. Okay. So it says that's all I need. So then I could go with on changed. And then we could pass whatever the last shot actually was. And this actually, importantly, where do I actually say last here? Update throwing from. Can I just do that? Maybe? No, I can't. Okay. String map string dynamic. Okay, so I actually just want it to be a single string. So does that revert me just back to the single widget builder then? If I do this? It does. Okay, that is important to note. So that stays the same, and all I actually need to do is grab this. And then I think by doing so, I should now actually get an output. We'll find out. So my hope is that this is actually going to make it so that when I call it down here, I actually get printouts for those main landing areas. Let's just erase the round. All right, forehand, we'll get a printout here. Nothing on main landings yet. I hit fairway. Yes, beautiful. And it pops up there. If I go next shot, beautiful. Okay, that's big progress. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Const. Well, now what? It's now a good stopping point then. It kind of feels like it is. This was good. So these will remain unchanged for main C1x, which is the most important, obviously, but they are now largely functioning with this. Next shot we'll need to clear all of those out, but that'll come later. So still lots of functionality things to address, but these buttons will now work. I can get the result displayed up here. We've got our progress bar. We can tap to pull up specific ones. Again, the appearances of this stuff will change, but next shot resets this. That's big. Buttons now look as they're supposed to without, again, changing for normal C1x. That was good. Good progress. Okay. I probably will call it there for the day. I think, let me try opening this up again. See what we got left here. C1x. No, not there. Okay, so progress bar is up. Still not aesthetically what it needs to be, but it's up. So we can address that later. Again, I do intend to add some actual graphics up here, so that might be something that I at least have ChatGPT start to build out templates for. And then we can implement and adjust next time. So that might be something I do off camera, if I do anything off camera. We got the main tracking system largely working. I think I'd probably want to just finish the functionality stuff first. So next items might be getting all this information filled out, and then once next shot is hit, actually saving it, and then erasing, getting ready for the actual next shot. Because ultimately right now I'm not worried about how we're going to display the information. I'm just trying to make sure I can collect all of it as I expect it to. So it might be something I do next is just finishing the functionality of this, maybe getting a couple graphics put together for how this stuff's going to look up top, but largely getting it to where we make sure it all enters as it should, which we are fairly close to being done with that. But then getting next shot to save it, clear it out for the next shot, and then being able to do that for an entire round. At the end of the round, it saves to the file format that I've had set up since C1x launched for it. So I think if I can do that, we're probably there. And then it'll be time to just start making it look good, which is the exciting part. So yeah, I will call it there for today. If anybody actually watches this, sorry for all the screen capture stoppages, but I think hopefully I didn't miss too much. Yeah, probably the third time I'd said it, but I will call it there for today. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.